Hello, I hope you are having a wonderful day. Today I just wanted to share with you a little something that I read in my From Faith to Faith devotional this morning, my kind of thing, Gloria Copeland, and it was about how you get, like, a lot of Christians get like a little glimpse of what their life following God's will is going to look like, but then they take it into their own hands and try to build their life by themselves, and they try to do it in their own flesh instead of letting God do it and letting God build their life and letting God do it. And so, because we can't do it in our own flesh, and I was thinking, okay, so the way I apply this to myself is, lately it's so funny that Kenneth Copeland said Christians get he said Christian endeavors get a glimpse of what God wants them to do in their lives, and then the mistake they make and when they fail is when they take it into their own hands and try to do it in their own flesh. And so the way I was thinking about that for myself is, lately I've literally written in my journal, I've gotten a glimpse of what God wants me to do with my life, and the only place where I feel like I could mess up is where he said Christians mess up, is by trying to take it into their own hands and trying to do it in their own flesh. Because I was thinking lately, like, I don't wanna work for, like, I don't wanna work my whole life, and that's not what I want to do when I grow up. When I grow up, I want to travel the world, and I want ministry to be my job. I want to somehow, like, make money to live, but I don't want to work a job. I just want to spend my life traveling the world and rescuing people and stuff like that. And so I'm, like, worrying about it and thinking, but how am I going to make money and all of this stuff? And then I realized in reading that I need to just keep doing my best, pray that it's blessed, and he'll take care of the rest. That's from Keith Green. There's a song, he goes, just keep doing your best and pray that it's blessed, and he'll take care of the rest. It's a really good song. But anyways, that's like the best advice ever, is keep doing your best, pray that it's blessed, and Jesus will take care of the rest. And that's what I need to keep doing, is taking it one day at a time and just obeying Jesus and making that my number one goal, and just taking it one step at a time, doing every step as Jesus tells me to do it, and then to not worry about tomorrow. Today has enough troubles of its own. Tomorrow will worry about itself. Because worrying about how I'm going to make money in the future, if I just want to minister and save people and rescue people and tell them about Jesus, worrying about how I'm going to make money, that's worrying about tomorrow. So I need to not worry about tomorrow, let tomorrow take care of itself, for today has enough troubles of its own. And I was realizing that today has enough troubles of its own. And okay, there's nothing, like, it's not about not being prudent, because I definitely want to be prudent and think about what I'm doing with my future and get ready for my future and stuff like that and prepare for my future. But there's a difference between worrying about your future and being prudent. And I'm being prudent in the fact of thinking of what God wants me to do with my life and planning on all the things he wants me to do. But worrying about tomorrow is worrying, oh gosh, well, how am I going to make the money to do all that? And how am I going to be able to live if I'm just traveling the world and ministering? And how am I going to do that? That's worrying about tomorrow. So I need to give it to Jesus, cast my cares onto Jesus, for he cares for me, and let him care for me, and let tomorrow worry about itself, for today has enough troubles of its own, and just obey Jesus, and I will be on the right path. And so I thought that would encourage you, is if you kind of feel overwhelmed, like, how are you going to do God's plan for your life, and how are you gonna maybe make the money like I was worried about, or how are you gonna even do it? Don't worry about how you're gonna do it. Just do what Jesus tells you to do, and he'll take care of the rest. Because chances are, what he asks me to do is going to be impossible in the flesh. And that's why it takes faith. And that's why I need faith, and that's why I need to read my Bible to build my faith, so that I can have the faith to trust God to do the impossible. And that's all I need to do is believe, and then He'll do the impossible. And so maybe it is impossible for me to travel the world and minister to others and save them without having a job. And maybe there's a lot of impossible things about God's plan for my life. But that's because it's God's plan for my life, and it's not my plan. And so if I try to do it in my own flesh, God's plan for me, that's not going to work, because I can't do the impossible. Only God can do the impossible. So I have to have the faith that He can do the impossible. And if I believe in Him and just trust in Him and just do what He tells me to do, then He will do the impossible. And when I stretch my hand over the water in faith, He will part the Red Sea for me. And although it was impossible, because I had the faith to do it, it will happen. And so I thought I would encourage you with that today. And so yeah, if you just feel like your life is overwhelming ahead, just do the next step and just obey Jesus, and don't worry about how, but just what. Don't worry about how you're going to do it, because that's God's job. All you have to do is believe that you can do it, and you'll be able to do it, and just follow the little steps Jesus gives you and obey one thing at a time, and you'll look back and be like, wow, how did I do that? And it's because you let Jesus take care of it, and you just did what He told you to do. It's kind of like if you're walking on a bridge and you're like, don't look down, and you just look straight forward and keep your eyes ahead to where you're going, and you don't look at your circumstances around you, because if you did, you'd fall. You'd lose your balance, and you'd fall, like if it were like, well, I was just thinking of a tightrope right now. Not everybody can walk a tightrope, but like that analogy of just walking on a really thin bridge. If you look around, you'll get dizzy and fall. And it's kind of like Peter in the boat, when he was on the boat and there was a storm and the disciples saw Jesus coming, walking on the water, and they were scared for a second because they thought it was a ghost, because like people can't walk on water, but they're like, no, it's Jesus, or Jesus said it was Him. I'm not sure how that worked, but anyways, Jesus came over and asked Peter to come to Him, and I think He asked Peter to come to Him, but anyways, Peter got out of the water and he went to walk towards Jesus, and he kept his eyes fixed on Jesus. But then when he saw the winds around him and how scary the storm was, he started sinking. He lost faith and he started sinking. And then he cried, Lord, help me. And so Jesus came over and lifted him up. And if Peter just would have kept his eyes fixed on Jesus, and not looked at all the scary situations around him, he would have walked on water and done the impossible, and then looked back and been like, I just walked on water. How did I do that? I couldn't have done that unless I had faith in Jesus and looked at Jesus. But because he looked around and saw all the scary storms around him, he fell into the water. He lost faith and he fell into the water. So it's like the same thing with walking on the bridge. If you keep your eyes fixed ahead, you're not going to get dizzy and fall off. But if you look around, you're going to get dizzy and fall off. Because I think everybody knows life is overwhelming and really hard sometimes. So that's why we really need something to focus on. And that something to focus on and to lead us through life is Jesus. And so if we just keep our eyes fixed on Jesus and not look to the left and not look to the right, not to the right, not look to the right or not look to the left, but just keep our eyes fixed on Jesus, we won't get dizzy, we won't fall down, we won't lose faith, we won't get disheartened, and we'll do the impossible just because we believe. And so yeah, just another verse. It says, without faith it is impossible to please God. So we need faith to follow Jesus, because He's gonna have us do the impossible all the time, and without faith we just can't do it. And then there's another Bible verse that says, oh, well, we walk by faith and not by sight. And then there is another one that says, abide in me, if you abide in me, my words abide in you. I may be mixing verses together, but apart from me, you can do nothing. And it's so true. And he says, I am the vine, you are the branches. I think it says, if you abide in me, you will live. But those who don't abide in him are cast away into the fire, like sticks cast away into the fire. So we need him to live. And the last verse is, if you love me, Jesus said, you will keep my commandments. And that's how we know we're following him, is if we love him. And then the first commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your heart, and with all your strength. And then the second is to love one another. So the first one, very first commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. I don't know if it says all those things, but that's the number one commandment. And if we love him, we'll keep his commandments. So all we have to do is just obey Jesus, and we will be on the path to life. So that is it for today. I hope that encouraged you, and I just hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay, I'll see you next time.